In today's world where living space is costly and our hearts long for beauty with meaning, the English cottage aesthetic offers a tender counterpoint to stark minimalism. Entering such spaces evokes quiet stories of handwritten letters, afternoon tea, and lace-framed gardens. More than decoration, this style creates sanctuaries where every detail, faded wood, soft fabrics, or cherished china, serves both beauty and emotional comfort.
Welcome to Rustic Elegance. Let's embark on a journey through the beauty of rustic decor, celebrating the warmth, simplicity, and natural charm of this timeless design.
English Cottage Interior 2025. Romantic tiny home decor ideas with vintage elegance and small space. The magic lies not in large dimensions, but in the ability to make even the smallest apartment or cottage corner feel like a cherished retreat. Instead of measuring luxury by square footage, this approach values the peaceful rituals and cozy moments that fill our homes each day. By embracing imperfections and layering vintage details, it turns limitations into opportunities for intimacy and warmth. What makes this design philosophy powerful is its emphasis on storytelling through objects and textures. A worn beam, a draped throw, or a carefully placed teacup all contribute to narratives that feel deeply personal and timelessly romantic. English cottage interiors remind us to slow down, notice beauty in the ordinary, and shape homes that nurture both body and soul. One, cozy interior corners, creating intimate spaces in tiny home environments. Small space transformation, English cottage style for compact living areas. Even the most compact corner can become the emotional heart of your home when styled with romantic English cottage interior design principles that prioritize warmth over size. The design secret lies in understanding that small spaces don't require sparse decoration. They demand selective and intentional styling choices that maximize both visual impact and emotional resonance. Utilizing soft pastel color palettes including cream, sage green, and dusty rose, paired with classic floral fabric patterns and warm ambient lighting, creates environments that feel cozy and welcoming rather than cramped or restrictive. A dedicated reading nook featuring a vintage upholstered armchair, small antique side table displaying well-loved book collections, and soft knitted throw creates instant retreat spaces within tiny homes. Texture layering techniques, vintage cottage-style interior design. The sophisticated art of creating authentic cottage charm in small residential spaces depends on thoughtful layering of diverse textures that communicate both comfort and historical character throughout living areas. Adding multiple layers including linen throws and muted earth tones, delicate lace window treatments that filter natural light softly, and natural wood accent pieces brings remarkable depth and visual warmth to compact home environments. Consider window seat installations adorned with mixed vintage cushion collections, some featuring faded floral prints, others displaying simple stripe patterns, topped with chunky knit throw blankets. These classic textile combinations evoke timeless English cottage charm while maintaining light, airy design aesthetics essential for small space success. Vintage cottage decor elements, personal touches for tiny home character. The fundamental difference between generic housing and authentic homes often emerges through personal decorative details that reflect individual stories, interests, and meaningful family connections. Small decorative accessories like vintage teacup collections displayed on floating wooden shelves, antique book stacks arranged with care, or pressed botanical artwork created from garden walks add deeply personal character to cozy residential spaces. These might include vintage postcard collections arranged in shadow box displays, small ceramic pitchers filled with dried lavender from personal gardens, or weathered wooden boxes containing grandmother's inherited jewelry collections. Two, timeless color palettes, soft hues for romantic cottage atmospheres. Cottage color schemes, soft pastels for small space interior design. Selecting appropriate color palettes represents perhaps the most crucial element in creating vintage elegance within tiny home environments, as color possesses unique power to visually expand spaces while establishing desired emotional atmospheres. Soft cream colors reminiscent of fresh churned butter, blush pink tones echoing English roses at dawn, sage green hues reflecting cottage garden herbs, and powder blue shades mirroring cloudy countryside skies work harmoniously to open compact spaces while maintaining essential calming romantic character. These aren't bold modern pastels but rather faded, sun-washed versions that speak of years of gentle, comfortable living. When applied to wall surfaces, these sophisticated shades create backdrops that make every room appear larger and more inviting. Neutral paint colors with natural wood, cottage interior harmony. The refined beauty characteristic of English cottage interiors emerges from understanding how to pair neutral background colors with organic richness found in natural wood elements throughout residential spaces. Consider warm white or cream wall colors that provide visual breathing room, paired with honey-toned reclaimed wood beams or silvered patina found on aged furniture pieces. This color combination ensures homes feel spacious yet warm, elegant without overwhelming small interior dimensions. Visualize how soft gray painted dresser finishes appear against cream walls, or how natural linen curtain panels frame windows with weathered wooden trim details. Cottage-style accent colors, adding personality to small residential rooms. While neutral base palettes provide serene foundations, carefully chosen accent colors breathe life and individual personality into cottage-inspired residential spaces. Introduce accent pieces in deeper, more complex color tones like olive green reminiscent of English countryside herbs, vintage rose echoing antique chintz patterns, or soft gray-blue reflecting weathered garden gates. Whether expressed through hand-painted cushion covers, vintage quilts draped over seating, or carefully restored accent furniture, these small color additions enhance cottage charm while adding visual dimensional depth. The key involves restraint. One or two deeper accent tones used consistently throughout spaces create cohesion and sophisticated visual appeal. Three, vintage furniture selection, styling tiny homes with authentic character. Small home vintage furniture, space-saving cottage pieces with history. Vintage furniture additions instantly add authentic character to small residential spaces, and selecting English cottage-inspired pieces brings both warmth and romance into homes in ways that contemporary furniture simply cannot achieve. Seek compact vintage treasures that tell compelling stories. Spindleback chairs with worn paint revealing countless family dinner gatherings, petite painted dressers that once held grandmother's linens, or weathered wood tables scarred by years of loving use. These furniture pieces often feature gentle curved lines, hand-painted decorative details, or time-worn finishes that represent hallmarks of authentic cottage-style character. Each scratch mark, faded paint area, and gentle wood warp tells stories of real life lived beautifully. Modern vintage furniture mixing, balancing old and new in small spaces. The key to successfully incorporating vintage furniture pieces into modern tiny living lies in thoughtful balance. honoring historical character while embracing practical needs of contemporary residential life. A classic farmhouse table with gentle patina and solid construction pairs beautifully with sleek woven storage baskets that conceal modern necessities, while vintage vanity furniture with romantic curved lines can be topped with contemporary LED lighting, providing brightness needed for daily routines. This mixing approach allows enjoyment of soul-warming vintage charm without sacrificing functionality that small space living demands. Vintage display ideas, styling antiques in small cottage home environments. In small residential spaces, every display arrangement must work harder to justify its presence, making curation of vintage treasures both artistic expression and practical necessity. Display favorite antique collections or thrifted discoveries in thoughtful vignettes that avoid clutter, while maximizing visual impact throughout tiny homes. Group similar items by color, material, or historical era to create visual cohesion, perhaps cream-colored ironstone collections on open shelving, or gatherings of small wooden boxes, each holding treasured keepsakes. Utilize vertical wall space for hanging vintage platters or framed botanical prints, and choose display surfaces wisely for most meaningful vintage pieces. Four, romantic interior details, accent elements that elevate every room. English cottage decor essentials, romantic details for small residential spaces. The authentic soul of romantic English cottage interiors lies in accumulating meaningful details that transform houses into personal narratives written through fabric selections, wood elements, and treasured object collections. Essential items like hand-embroidered cushion covers, perhaps inherited from beloved grandmothers, delicate lace table runners that catch afternoon sunlight beautifully, or framed botanical prints collected during countryside walks add character, layers, and personality to small living spaces. These aren't random decorative choices but carefully selected pieces reflecting personal interests, travel memories, and family history connections. Vintage sewing baskets repurposed as storage solutions, antique book collections stacked with care, or transferware plate displays on narrow shelving. Each element contributes to creating warm, nostalgic atmospheres. Cottage lighting design, creating cozy ambience in tiny home environments. Light possesses remarkable ability to transform both perceived spatial dimensions and emotional temperature of residential environments, making thoughtful lighting particularly crucial in tiny homes seeking romantic cottage atmospheres. Utilize thoughtful combinations of soft ambient lighting, vintage-style wall sconces with fabric lampshades, and table lamps with bases echoing cottage aesthetic principles to create layers of gentle illumination throughout spaces. Avoid harsh overhead lighting in favor of multiple soft light sources, perhaps reading lamps with linen shades beside favorite seating, candlesticks on mantelpieces, and string lights with warm-toned bulbs draped along bookshelf installations. This layered lighting approach adds intimacy to small rooms while enhancing romantic, vintage character. Fresh flower arrangements, cottage-style natural elements for small spaces. English cottage interiors never feel complete without nature's presence brought indoors, and in small residential spaces, this becomes both decorative opportunity and meaningful way to connect with changing seasonal rhythms. Fresh flowers gathered from even modest gardens, or carefully chosen blooms from local markets, arranged in vintage pitchers, mason jars, or simple glass vessels bring natural elegance to every room without demanding precious square footage. Consider dried lavender in vintage medicine bottles, pussy willows in ceramic crocks, or seasonal branches arranged in weathered galvanized buckets. These natural elements add color, texture, and living beauty to interiors while reinforcing connections to English countryside that cottage style celebrates. 5. Outdoor cottage charm, extending style beyond interior walls. Small cottage garden ideas, creating outdoor rooms in tiny residential spaces. The authentic magic of English cottage living has always extended beyond interior walls to embrace outdoor areas as essential home components, and this philosophy becomes particularly valuable when working with limited indoor square footage. Transform even smallest outdoor areas, whether tiny patios, balconies, or corner yard spaces, into serene retreats that feel like natural extensions of cottage interiors. Bistro table pairings with mismatched vintage chairs, large containers filled with herbs and cottage garden flowers, and weather-resistant cushions in soft floral or striped patterns create instant outdoor room environments. Add cozy throws for cool evenings, perhaps stored in baskets tucked beside seating areas, and suddenly tiny spaces feel exponentially larger. Vintage garden decor, extending cottage style to outdoor living areas. Creating seamless flow between cottage interiors and outdoor spaces requires extending carefully curated aesthetics beyond residential walls, using elements that withstand seasonal weather while maintaining romantic charm character. Incorporate weathered planters in galvanized metal or aged terracotta, rustic lanterns holding candles or battery-operated lights, and wrought iron accents like plant stands or decorative wall pieces that develop beautiful patina over time. Vintage wooden crates serve as storage for garden tools and supplies, while antique watering cans become both functional tools and decorative elements. These pieces connect interior styling to garden or patio spaces, making entire homes feel cohesive and thoughtfully designed. Seasonal cottage decor, year-round outdoor styling for small gardens. One of the most delightful aspects of cottage-style outdoor living involves celebrating each season with simple changes that keep spaces feeling fresh and connected to nature's natural rhythms throughout the year. Switch cushions and throws to reflect changing seasons. Perhaps lighter linens and florals for spring and summer months, transitioning to warmer plaids and deeper colors for autumn and winter periods. Update planter containers with seasonal flowers and foliage, from spring bulbs and summer cottage garden favorites to autumn mums and winter evergreen arrangements. Small decorative touches like seasonal wreaths, different arrangements of gathered branches, or holiday-appropriate lighting transform outdoor spaces throughout the year. Conclusion: creating romantic English cottage sanctuaries in small spaces. The journey of creating romantic English cottage interiors in small residential spaces ultimately involves choosing beauty over size, meaningful story over simplicity, and heart-centered design over temporary trends. Every vintage teacup, soft textile throw, and carefully tended plant becomes part of larger narratives about what transforms houses into authentic homes that nurture both body and spirit. In our fast-paced contemporary world, these cottage-style spaces offer something increasingly precious: permission to embrace slower living rhythms, notice beauty in small daily moments, and surround ourselves with objects that speak to our souls rather than simply fill available space. The true magic of this English cottage approach lies not in following rigid decorating rules, but in understanding adaptable design principles that can be successfully applied to any residential space, budget constraint, or lifestyle requirement. Whether working with tiny houses on wheels, studio apartments in urban settings, or simply corners requiring more emotional warmth, cottage aesthetic principles teach us that luxury isn't about having more possessions. It's about choosing better quality items, caring more deeply about our environments, and creating spaces that nurture both physical comfort and spiritual well-being. As you begin or continue your personal cottage-style design journey, remember that the most beautiful homes authentically reflect their inhabitants' true selves and values. Allow your residential space to tell your unique story through color selections that bring genuine smiles, textures that invite tactile interaction, and details that spark joy every time you enter your door. The most romantic aspect of any home isn't its size or perfect styling. It's the love and intention invested in its creation, one thoughtful detail at a time.